The UK-based Privy Council has ruled that the requirement for attorneys to report breaches of the Proceeds of Crime Act does not infringe on the rights to privacy protected by the Constitution. The ruling was handed down this morning. The Jamaican Bar Association had sought to exert legal professional privilege to keep confidential all dealings with and information about clients derived by the attorney in the course of engagement. So what does this really mean for Jamaicans? To break it all down, we're now joined by our in-house legal analyst, Dion Jackson-Miller. Dion, welcome. First of all, what do you make of this ruling?
Thanks so much, Herman. Well, I think it's a good ruling. It's an important ruling. It's a fair ruling. And just to be clear, what the Privy Council said was that the reporting requirements that are now going to be imposed on attorneys do not breach legal professional privilege. They don't breach the right to privacy. They do infringe. They don't breach the right to property, I beg your pardon. They do infringe on the right to privacy in some situations, but that infringement is, in the language of the Constitution, demonstrably justified. Now, it's important to point out that the ruling doesn't decimate or destroy legal professional privilege between attorney and clients. In fact, the Privy Council points out the provisions in POCA that specifically protect legal professional privilege. But what happens now is that attorneys who engage in certain types of activities will have the obligation to report what are called suspicious transactions. So if you think about buying and selling real estate, there are 6 activities. Buying and selling real estate is one of them. Managing money, managing savings accounts, for instance, and securities accounts. Those are the kinds of activities that can be used to launder money. And in fact, the Privy Council pointed out that the anti-money laundering regime is also designed to protect attorneys from becoming potential accomplices in money laundering. So you have to look at this within the context of the organized crime situation that we and other jurisdictions around the world are facing, and the need to put in place regimes to protect against that.
All right, you point out how attorneys have to look at it, but what are the implications now for clients?
Well, more than likely, attorneys are going to now have to adjust some of the ways in which they deal with their clients. So, you know, we hear in the banks, you have know your customer requirements, for instance. You are now going to have to be able to take certain steps to verify the identity of your client, as well as certain source of funds, because the whole issue of where the money is coming from, is this a brown paper bag coming in? Is it coming in or being used in a suspicious way that would send up a red flag that would then trigger reporting requirements? So these are all systems that are now going to have to be put in. We should point out that this is not something that's unique to Jamaica. There are many jurisdictions that have already had to put in reporting requirements for attorneys, and the Privy Council also makes mention of that in the judgment.
All right, the ruling was just made today. What can we expect now going forward into how it will impact our day-to-day in terms of the courts?
Well, first of all, as you said, it's at the end of a 10-year fight. This has gone through the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and now all the way to the Privy Council. The legal profession, I think, still going through the ruling, still figuring out what it means. But as the president of the Jamaica Bar Association said to me earlier, they've already started training in terms of how attorneys are going to have to relate to their clients, how your systems are going to have to change. And the POCA, Proceeds of Crime Act, also makes provision for you as a lawyer, if you're curious or you're uncertain as to whether a particular transaction should be reported, you have the right to yourself, right, consult a specialist attorney who can advise you on that, and that will also give you protection as a lawyer.
Okay, interesting times.
It is.
All right, thank you very much. That's Dion Jackson-Miller. Now, in the meantime...